division multiplexing. So the second type. So it is type 2, which is saying that wavelength division multiplexing, which is WDM. So here, analog signals only are sent, but it is a form of light. It is signal is in the form of light. You got the idea? So fiber optic cable, the signal is sent through fiber optic cable. So this is what you have to remember. This is fiber optic cable. So light signal are sent. So this optical fiber data rates are very high. When you want to send analog signal with a very high data rate, you will be using WDM. You got the idea? So FDM is used for low frequency, data rate. I mean to say, if you want to send the data at lower rates, you use FDM, analog signal. But when the analog signals are to be sent at a very high rate, then you should use optical fiber cable. The bandwidth will be very high, right? And multiplexing is done. So let me see how exactly this can be achieved. How exactly this can be achieved. Now here, this is what I do. Different wavelengths. Here, signal wavelengths are different. So lambda 1, lambda 2, lambda 3, light waves. You have seen this in 12th class physics, right? Every, you have seen Vibgyor colors, violet, you got the idea, indigo, blue. Every color has a different bandwidth. You got the idea? Wavelength, light. Basically, it's a form of light. So here, wavelength lambda 1, lambda 2, lambda 3, they are combined into lambda 1 plus lambda 2, lambda 3. These three are combined together. You got the idea? So I'll be at now at the receiving end, I have demux, which separates this. Now, how this mixing and separation happens here? Mixing and separation happens here. You have done some experimentation with prism in 12th class, yes?
Yes, sir.
Got it.
Yes, sir.
Prism. So prism is being used as a multiplexer over here. You got the idea? These three wavelengths are being combined into a single this thing. You know that red, green, and blue light, when they are combined, I'll be getting white color. Yes or no?
Yes, sir. Yes.
So that is how it is, simple thing. So prism is acting as a multiplexer, and prism itself is acting as a demultiplexer. Only you have to allow, you got the idea, light beam to fall at a particular angle, on the prism that will separate these, what I meant to say, wavelengths. So it is basically depends on angle of incidence. You have studied this in physics, simple physics of 12th class, optical physics, I think. You have done that?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
So
sir.
this is the concept that is used for multiplexing and demultiplexing. So WDM is basically used for sending the signals at a higher data rate, at a faster. The speed of light is very high when compared to the speed of transmission of signal through wired this thing, copper cable. Copper cable, we have seen it was 2 into 10 to the power 8 meters per second. Whereas optical fiber cable, what is the rate of light travel? Light travels at what rate?
3
3
into 10 to
into.
the power.
3 into. So definitely rate is higher when compared to, copper cable. Now we have a third type, which is called as time division multiplexing. You got the idea? So in this kind of multiplexing, uh, it is used basically for what I mean to say, carrying the digital signals. Digital signals means zeros and ones. Am I clear over here? So this is how this TDM, time division multiplexer, is different when compared to those two. So FDM is used for what I'm say, carrying analog signals at lower data rate. WDM is used for carrying analog signal, because light is analog signal. You got the analog signal at a higher data rate through optical fiber cable, right? And here, this what I meant to say, time division multiplexing, it carries only the digital signals. Digital signals. So how exactly this is achieved in time division multiplexing? Now in time division multiplexing, each source, this is sending source 1, sending source 2, sending source 3, and sending source 4. You got the idea? So 4 sources are there and they are sending their data rates, their data packets. You got the idea? So what I'll be doing is I'll be allotting, this is the total packet size. This is the total packet size. You got the idea? This is a packet size, or I can say this called as frame. So this is second frame, and this is color. Color is representing, frame. So here this time slot is allotted for filling the data from source 1. This time slot is allotted for filling data from what I am going to say source 2, and this time slot is given. So suppose this is 1 second, 1 second. So this is 250 milliseconds. One can send data for first 250 millisecond. From 251 to 500 milliseconds, you got the idea. Second source will send its data. From 501 to 750, you got the idea. 750, this thing, milliseconds. Source 3 will be sending its data. I can see some of the students are trying to derive fun out of it. See, class is not for fun. So kindly desist from this practice. Okay. Yeah. So from source 3, so time slot allotted is 501 to 750 milliseconds. Then 751 to 1000 millisecond. I'll be sending the signals from source 4. And the same process is repeated again. Next time slot of 1 second is given. First 250 milliseconds are given to source 1. Next 250 milliseconds are given to source 2. Third, source is given next set of 250 milliseconds, like this. So in a particular time slot, source 1 will be sending its data. And in next slot, source 2, next slot, source 3, next slot, source 4. You might be thinking that if source 2 doesn't have anything to send, no data to send, in that case, this particular slot becomes empty only. It cannot be occupied by 3. Are you getting my point? It cannot be occupied by 3. So if any source, suppose source 2 does not have a data to send, so here this slot for time reserved for 2 remains empty, and this goes as it is. So 1 will be filled, 3 will be filled, 4 will be filled. Again, if source 2 doesn't have any data, then this goes vacant only. This goes vacant only, like this. Time division. Any doubt so far?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay, fine. So can I go for next explanation part, next slide?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, as I told you in the beginning only, that time division multiplexing, I'll have two types of what I would say multiplexers. So one is synchronous time division multiplexing, and another one is statistical time division multiplexing. So here, synchronous time division multiplexing, what happens? I will have time slots and frames. Concept is synchronous. So first one. So the previous example, what we had seen, it is comprising of synchronous. So synchronous means syn means together with time. So I told that first 250 milliseconds are reserved for source 1. Next 250 milliseconds are reserved for source 2. Next 250 milliseconds are reserved for source 3. So here during their time slots only, the data from source 1 will be filled here in this time slot. data from source 2 will be taken in this time slot only, no other time slot. Data from source 3 will be taken during this time slot only, third time slot, and this is fourth time slot. So this is the example of synchronous, together with time, synchronous. You got that in multiplexing. So this is, here, this entire thing is called as a frame. This entire thing is called as a frame. 1, 2, 3, 4, what you see is a frame. So this is second frame. You got the idea? This is 3 frame. So I have shown you in the diagram 3 frames. You got the idea? So we will see what is the time required for each frame, each one frame, and within the frame, the time required by each sending source, time required by each sending source. So here in time division multiplexing, time is sliced or divided. Time is sliced or divided into the number of channels sending. If what I meant to say, I have 10 sending channels, so the given single channel will be divided into 10 time slots. In the previous, what I meant to say, in the previous diagram, we have seen, since there were only 4 sending source, so I had divided the whole, what I meant to say, frame into 4 parts, and each frame part was given a time slot. You got the idea? Now, if I have 10 sending channels, you got the idea? So 1 second will be divided into 1 second will be divided into 10 parts. So if I divide 1 second into 10 parts, so each channel will get 100 millisecond time to send its data. 100 milliseconds. So source 2 has now sent the data. Now it has to wait for sending next data. For how long it has to wait? Now there are 10 sources which are sending. Are you understanding my question? Now assuming that source 2 has sent its data and it was given a time slot of 100 millisecond. Now to send the data next, the same source 2, how much time will it require? How much time it has to wait, in fact, to send next set of data?
300.
How many sources are there?
10 sources are there.
1000 milliseconds.
Hmm?
So 1000.
Are you sure 1000? See, during second, 101 to 200 millisecond, it has sent the data. And next it has to wait. So since it is second sending source, 8 sending source are there after it. You got the idea?
Yes, sir.
So second plus 8. So 2 plus 8, 10 source, and the first one will send now. You got the idea? First one will send now. First one will send now means total 900 milliseconds it has to wait
Okay.
for sending next set of data. Have you understood?
Yes.
So once any source has sent the data, it has to wait for, if 10 channels are there, 10 channels are there, it has to wait for 900 milliseconds for sending the data next. So this is what is there. The concept is, you see, this is time slot 1. This is time slot 1, time slot 2, time slot 3. So source 1 in the frame 1, it fills this particular data here. Then this source 2, B1, fills the data here. Then this is from channel 3, C1, fills here. So this is the total frame. You got the idea? Then second frame. You got the idea? A2, B2, C2, A2, B2, C2. Then third frame, A3, B3, C3. You got the idea? This is there. Now I just want to calculate. Now this is the time slot given. You got the idea? This is the given time slot. Say it is 1 second. So each channel is given how many seconds. This is 1 second slot. This is 1 second slot, and this is 1 second slot. And there are 3 sending channels. So each channel will get how much of time slot in this frame. Each source, this is say 1 second time during which this entire frame is filled. This entire frame is filled. Are you getting my point? This
0.3.
So it will be nothing but how much time will it require? 1 second divided into 3 parts. 1 second into divided into 3 parts. How much it comes?
1/3, yeah.
Roughly, you know, 333.33, you know, milliseconds. 333.33 milliseconds. That will be the time slot. That is 1 second divided by 3. So 3 parts. So if this t is 1 second, so 1 second divided by 3. So 333.33 milliseconds will be the time or duration for which you know, this source 1, sending source 1 will fill its data. Say A1. Have you understood this?
Yes, sir.
So,
So,
Yeah. Now, assuming that this is the example, I'll take one example, but similarly, you can take another example. So the data rate for each input connection is 1 kbps. You got the idea? Data rate is 1 kbps, and if 1 bit at a time is multiplexed, I'm multiplexing 1 bit at a time. What is the duration of each input slot? What is the duration of each input slot and duration of output slot? How long it takes for the output slot, and what is each frame, time of each frame? Now, data rate of each connection is 1 kbps. You got the idea? So 1 kbps means 1 divided by what I mean to say 1000 milliseconds. Why I have taken 1000 this thing? 1 kilo bps. So 1 second divided by 1 kbps. You got the idea? 1k is nothing but 1000. So 1 millisecond, each source is sending its data 1 bit of data. You got the idea? In 1 millisecond. The duration of input time slot is 1 millisecond. This is the answer of this question because the rate is 1 kbps. The duration of each output time slot is 1/3 of the input time. 1/3 of the input time means 1 millisecond was there and 3 sources are there, because we have seen in the previous example 3 sources are there. We have to consider the same diagram. 6.13, you can see here figure 6.13, which is this. Okay, so here each frame time slot, so for each channel, how much is the time slot given? So if this is 1 millisecond, this entire thing is 1 millisecond. So how much of time slot is required for this first channel, how much is for second channel, and how much is for third channel? So 1 millisecond was the time. So 1 millisecond, 1/3 of that. So 1/3 of 1 millisecond. You got the idea? 1/3 of 1 millisecond. That many, this thing. So can I get in the answer? How much time is required? 1 millisecond is equal to how many microseconds? Have I asked difficult question?
Over 3.
1 millisecond is equal to how many microseconds?
10 power
1000
minus 3.
microseconds.
thousands.
You got the idea? So in 1 millisecond, when you divide into 3 parts, it will be 333.33 microseconds. Each source will get these many in this thing. You got the idea? So this is how this is there, and similarly I can have many examples. So examples are self-explanatory. So I'll leave this. Okay. Now this is the concept of interleaving. It is called interleaving. So you can see here, here source 1. So first frame is from source 1, then B1. So this is the synchronizing timers. These are the timers. How do I maintain? I mean to say, the moment frame, this first frame comes, it has to be filled. So for how long? So I have to divide this clock into three parts. I have to divide this clock into three parts, assuming that this clock is representing 1 second. You got the idea? So I start filling data from source one, sending source one. So how long from here the clock will start? So it starts filling till what point? Till the clock comes over here. Then the moment, this pointer comes over here, the data will not be filled. This sending source one stops, filling the data in frame one. Then B1, B2 is given a chance to fill the data. You got the idea? So till what time it will fill? What I would say, till this time. Oh, so it is moving in this direction. It is moving, sorry, the direction is in this. You got the idea? So, slot one was filled, and then this pointer will go, it starts and it comes till here, say 333.33 milliseconds. It will come from this place to this place, and that time slot is allotted for B1. So to fill the data. And next from here, the moment this time becomes over, you got the idea, the clock starts for C3, so third channel, to start filling this, populating this particular frame from this time to this time. This is how it will happen. Now what will happen the moment first packet arrives? Again, this clock has to be synchronized. This clock has to be synchronized. For how much duration? It has to receive the data 333.33 milliseconds only. So the moment first bit arrives, clock starts, and it starts receiving the bits till what time? 333.33 milliseconds. Then it will not accept the data from this particular part. You got the idea? Now it starts accepting data from this. So this is how the clocks, both the clocks are synchronized. You got the idea? If 5 sources are there, sending sources, this clock has to be divided into 5 parts. Understood? 5 parts. If 10 sending sources are there, this has to be divided into 10 parts. Have you understood, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes? So I'm doing what is, I'm interleaving. I mean to say, in a single frame, I am sending data from, sending source 1, sending source 2, sending source 3. You got the idea? So 3 sources are equally allowed to send their data. And this is how I separate the data. You got the idea? So first 333.33 milliseconds, whatever data is received, it is sent through first channel. Then next set of 333.33 milliseconds, whatever are there, that sent data will be received and sent through channel 2. And next set of what I meant to say, the 333.33 milliseconds, whatever data comes here, that will be pushed into third channel. This is how demultiplexing is achieved. You got the idea? This is how multiplexing is achieved. This is how demultiplexing is achieved. Right? Now we have 4 channels multiplexed using TDM. There are 4 channels now. You got the idea? Multiplexed, and each channel sends 100 bytes per second. Per second, how many bytes? 100 bytes. And we multiplex 1 byte per channel. We multiplex 1 byte per channel. So the frame traveling on the link, size of the frame, duration of the frame rate, bit rate of this. You got the idea of this? This is what I have to do. Got my point? So 4 channels are sending. 4 channels are sending. And how much? Each channel sends 100 bytes per second. 100 bytes per second. And each time we multiplex 1 byte per channel. So we will put only 1 byte per channel, and how many, what I'm say, total 100 bytes are there. You got the idea? Each channel send 100 bytes. So channel 1 sends 100 byte, this channel 2 sends 100 byte, channel 3 sends 100 byte. This is there. You got the idea? And frame. Frame comprises of what I am meant to say, how much size of the frame I have to decide. Size of the frame they are asking. So, I have to send multiplex only 1 byte per channel, 1 byte per channel. 1 byte means first byte will be from channel 1, second byte will be from channel 2, and third byte will be from channel 3, and fourth byte will be from channel 4. So if 4 bytes are there, so total 4 into 8 bits. Total size of the frame is 32 bits or 4 bytes. Have you understood the size of the frame? Now the duration of the frame. Duration of the frame is how much? 1 second divided by 100, because I have to send 100 bytes. You got the idea? 1 second divided by 100. So duration of each frame is nothing but how many? 1 divided by 100 second. So that is roughly 100 milliseconds. You got the idea? Now 100 frames, how much is the data rate? Data rate. So there are total 100 second. So 100 frame, each frame can carry 32 bits. Each frame can carry 32 bits. So 100 frame per second means 32 into 100. So 3200 bits per second, or I can simply say 3.2 kbps.